How's it going, guys? Today I'm starting my Pokemon collection. So I got me some pages for a binder, as well as my actual binder. I did a Pokemon unboxing the other day with the Charizard collection. I was going to get the Gyarados collection. For those who don't know, Charmander, Charizard, the whole evolution of that Pokemon. I like all of them. Charmeleon, Charizard, Charmander. And I even like Gyarados. Gyarados is one of my favorite Pokemon. And they had a Gyarados box, same as the Charizard box that you can buy. But I started hearing it was a GameStop exclusive. So I go back to the store where I bought the Charizard box, where I remember seeing the Gyarados box with intention to buy the Gyarados box today. And there was no Gyarados box. So I'm like, huh. So, if you guys are wondering, the box actually looks something like this. Only the Gyarados box was textured blue. I vividly remember seeing it there, even though it was not a GameStop. And I heard today it was a GameStop exclusive. So I'm going to hunt down that box and get that. Where did I... Okay, I put those over there. Actually, I'm going to set up this binder. So, fun fact with me and Pokemon, I haven't really been into Pokemon. Alright, so it actually already came pre-set up, actually. No zipper, nothing like that. I like the ones with the zipper. I think those are really fancy-nancy. And so for today's unboxing, I got us the Scarlet and Violet Paladin Fates. Scarlet and Violet is a really cool collection. If I'm not mistaken, it possesses a lot of the older Pokemon. So hopefully I get some pretty cool pulls from this. I was going to get the Scarlet and Violet 151 premium collection box with Mew and Mewtwo and all those on there. Because I thought that would be kind of a cool item to collect. And I really wanted to get the... this is just a trainer box, but... it's got a promo in there. But one of the complaints about that Gyarados set was that the promo included was just the regular print of the card that was of Gyarados that was already available that you could pull from the card packs. So it wasn't as special as, say, the Charizard. What I'm saying is with the Charizard EX, we got this, which looks just outstanding. And maybe one day in the distant future, perhaps maybe it might be worth some money. So the only way it would be worth some money is maybe 10, 20 years from now if it becomes highly desirable. Because, I mean, I'm seeing the 90s Pokemon cards go for ridiculous amounts of money. Okay. We're killing this off. And okay. All right. So along the inside of there has some cool designs. And it looks like it came with a booklet. All the different Pokemons that you could get from these card packs. sort of given some information about it, actually. Okay, we're going to open that back up here in a second. I'm going to buy one of those for my niece as well. And, you know, dude, honestly, man, I might start doing content with my niece because she likes Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And so, kind of cool as an uncle to just buy like a box to open up a bunch of packs and do that with my niece. I think would be kind of cool because she's really into anime and that kind of crap. But honestly, within recent years, okay, so Charmander and Charmeleon are in here as well as Magmar and I'm not seeing a Charizard. I see a Pikachu and a Raichu through here. I wonder if we can get Gyarados. I'm wondering if Gyarados is in here because we could pull a Charizard EX because it's the Dark type, which I guess actually makes sense because upon looking at this, it is like a different. It's not really a fire logo. Not quite sure what that type is. Okay. So I can actually just briefly looking over it. Mimikyu or Mimikyu or whatever this monster is on the side. I actually already have this card, believe it or not. I pulled it last time so I can compare and contrast, I guess. But the interesting thing is the Snorlax trainer box was one I wanted to get into, and I wanted to collect all 151 of the original Pokemon, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what Scarlet and Violet is. So anything with Scarlet and Violet packs, I'm definitely jumping on it because the old saying, collect them all. Those are the Pokemon that I remember the most, were the older ones when I was growing up. So those are the ones that I would prefer to collect. I'm going to toss aside this. And I'm also going to plug in my charger for my laptop so it does not take a shit on me while I record this. That way I have content. That way I'm not as annoyed with life. Also on my desk, something non-Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Related. I'm not that into the hobby to where I would decorate my room in Pokemon stuff. But it does not mean that I won't buy the cards and play the games. And games, I mean the TCG and the actual video games. Because today I actually contemplated with myself and I told myself I'm actually going to go ahead and buy a DS and buy the old Pokemon games and actually low-key grind Pokemon. And I even considered getting Pokemon Go. Okay. I have no idea what the hell this is. This comes open. And the lighting is going to be really bad. But that's that design. It's kind of neat, I think. It's not really my style, but believe it or not, when Pokemon Platinum came out, I actually chose to do a Pokemon-themed birthday, and or it might have been a year after that Pokemon game came out. Well, believe it or not, all the starter Pokemon in that game were the same Pokemon. Oh, this does not open up into anything. Oh, I'm not going there tonight. I have an alarm set up to go to my homie's house to play video games or go out in the middle of the woods and do stupid stuff in the middle of the night. Because venturing off into the wilderness at night is creepy as hell. Okay, so we have Paladin Fates, and these are the Scarlet and Violet packs. All of these are actually the Scarlet and Violet packs. Actually, I'm surprised at how many we actually get. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 packs. Ooh. It comes bent. Look at that. It came bent. No, not the promo. Not the card that's actually worth something. So it also came with these sleeves, which we're never going to use. Same thing with these Charizard sleeves, which I think actually look goated as hell. So, it looks like we also get a starter deck. So it's kind of neat. It also looks like we get some dye. And it looks like we also get 2 coins. Ooh, okay. Not quite sure. I think these might be dividers, but they have the design on them. It's metallic. It's kind of neat, honestly. So, I actually had no idea that these actually came with a starter deck. So we're actually, trainer boxes have good value. Actually, wait a second. Where is the thing? It includes 9 Pokemon TCG Scarlet and Violet Paladin of Fate booster packs, 1 full art promo card featuring the shiny Mimikyu. I don't know if by shiny they mean like that's not its normal color, because the shiny Pokemon is actually a thing where like Gyarados could be red instead of blue. It's a shiny Pokemon. Charizard, I think, is gray. Or they do color swaps. So it's those are kind of collectible. Actually quite a bit. 65 card sleeves. 45 Pokemon TCG energy cards. Okay, so this is actually not a deck. These are just exclusively energy cards, which is good for making a deck because you will need energy cards. Actually, what I'm going to do is go ahead and throw this full art promo on the very back. In the very back, actually, is where I'm going to be collecting these exclusive promos, rare cards that I'll be obtaining. Not really rare cards, but cards that are exclusive to expensive things. And as you guys can see, it's I'm going to hold it in a way to where you guys can understand. This card came bent, so that kind of sucks. I'm not really going to attempt to unbend it, actually. I'm going to instead put it into the binder and hope that time warps it back to its normal condition. Now, granted, it sits in there nicely, and in the light, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best promo card, I would say. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I don't have a lot of full art cards. Only the ones in these sleeves here are like anything rare, I guess you can say. But I got this one, which is a full art, and it's not worth anything. It's a Gloom. I got a full art Gloom. You guys can see there. And I do have a full art trainer card somewhere amongst the wreckage. Yeah, I got this one. Oh, shit. There we go. So, there's that. And then I also have the Spydrops. This spider Pokemon. I have a full art of that, which I consider that look to be pretty garbage. I have a Charmander and Charmeleon that are not full art promos. They're just the regular cards that have had a metallic version of them made. So they're kind of rare because you're not going to really see these unless you bought the pack. And also the full art promo of the Charizard. So goated. All right, let's get to open up these packs. Yeah, I think for the value, these trainer packs are kind of good. Keyword is kind of. I don't know if they're certain. I want to build a water deck, actually, because my favorite... There's that. Let's flip it. So we got... No. I don't have a camera set up for opening up packs of cards where you can see what I'm opening up. I wish I did. So, I got this mouse card. Barboach. It's a fighter type monster. It's pretty garbage. Ooh, Corellia. Do you recognize this psychic monster? I think I actually had the evolved version of that. Technical Machine Crisis Punch. Cool. Alrighty, so I have the Tauros, the bull, and I have a. Get this, ladies and gents. I have a Raichu coated. Let's hope we get a Pikachu. And then I have this. No idea what this is. I'm assuming it's a type of wolf, but it evolves from something. Maybostiff. I don't know. Raichu's definitely going in the binder. I think my bulk cards that I'm not going to collect in the binder that are just going to be bulk, whatever, going in here. But I do want all 151, all the original 151 Pokemon to be in the binder. Be kind of goated. Ooh, I got a Magmar. Another Corellia. Got a Jinjar. Ghost Pokemon. A Dark type. Oh, I got a... Oh, shit. I don't know how rare that is. You guys let me know in the comments if that's rare. I don't know. I actually don't feel like I should be touching this with bare hands. I feel like this needs to be um, Wu Chin EX with the gold border. I'm putting that down real quick. Actually, that's just going into the binder like immediately. Actually, tell you what, let's Google search this and see what the value is. I'm not saying I struck gold because I actually don't know how expensive Pokemon cards are. Um, actually, okay, I'm gonna see what the value is for this. That's kind of cool that I pulled something that looks so awesome. If not, I think it looks awesome, phenomenal. It's not real expensive. I'm seeing this card going for $7 to $13. Actually, it's not bad for any Pokemon card. Anything new that's worth like $7. It's kind of like in Pokemon terms, $7 is an entire pack of cards. So, just a thought. But all my rare stuff is going into the binder. I'll make a bulk binder later, actually. So only the cool rare cards get to go in here. Which means I gotta open up a lot of packs. I wish I bought a booster box. That would probably be the best way to do it, actually, is buying a whole booster box. It's crazy because there was a period in time where I would refuse to buy Pokemon. I would only buy Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Something about them Yu-Gi-Oh cards, though, man. That new card scent. I mean, it's on these cards as well, but it's just not as potent on these cards, I don't think. Okay, cool. Patient. Patient student. Trainer card. Chinchu. Pineco. Cool! Yo, goated. I pulled a standard Pikachu, so it goes with our Raichu. That's crisp. Another Jengar. I got a hollow Pineco. So I already pulled a duplicate of the Pineco, but I got a holographic version of him. So that's the Pineco one is this one right here where my finger is. And this one's an octopus, and I don't know what this one is. I don't recognize all the Pokemons. Like I said, I'm just coming back into it. But I'll give it a thorough look through, and I'll be definitely going after that Charizard EX for sure. That was a goated pull, though, that we just pulled there. You even already have a Charizard EX, but mine's the promo. I just started a playthrough on. I don't have a DS or a GameCube, so I'm actually playing the OG Pokemons through an emulator. Oh, I got a Haunter. That's goated. That is so goated. Ghost type Pokemons are so awesome. I got a Mimi Jr. Kind of cool. Okay, so I have a. I'm not a genius. Oh, okay, that's funny. So I pulled. I have two of these officially. Um, I actually pulled one from my other packs. I pulled this donkey-looking thing. But the cool thing is, check this out. I have two. I have an alternative art version of that same card. It's the same exact card. If you guys could tell, but one of the arts is different than the other. So I don't know if that's special or not. Probably isn't. It doesn't really look like a desirable Pokemon. But that Raichu was a cool pull. I genuinely think this Raichu, or that's Pikachu. What am I talking about? My Raichu is somewhere. So I'm actually running a Pikachu in my current deck right now in my Pokemon Fire Red. Anything I recognize? Oh shit! Okay, cool. So I just pulled a Great Tusk EX full art, not full art, but I pulled it this Great Tusk EX. That's dope. I also pulled this Moonlight Hill, which is a trainer card, which I think actually looks really cool. I mean, I like the artwork on it because I actually part of why I go out in the middle of the woods at night to get away from all these city lights and actually get to look at natural moonlight. Something that people think don't really appreciate about our skies is when there's like the light pollution is very real. So you look up in the sky, right? It's hard to really see actual moonlight, but out there in the middle of the field or middle of the woods, you appreciate it more because it gleams. It's a lot more potent, which I think is kind of interesting. And besides that, I mean, you're in the middle of the woods, so you hear all the crickets and all the bugs, and but getting out there in the middle of nowhere, like out there in the field, it is so peaceful. Oh, the last card's always going to be an energy type. So I'm going to just draw that because I literally have 50 energies. So it's like I don't really care about the energies. Okay. Oh, I got a Ghastly. That's kind of cool. Those ghost Pokemon are really interesting to me. So my favorite Pokemon game as a kid that I started playing. Ooh, I got a um, Gillimora, full art. That's full art EX. Probably isn't really worth anything, but it looks amazing. Holy shit! Okay, this was kind of goated. Check that out. I actually got I got a shiny Pikachu to go with my shiny Raichu, or my holographic Raichu. Then I got Magmortar shiny, as well as this EX card. Dope. I also have this trainer card, and actually came with 3 trainer cards. All right, down to our last 3 packs. Let's go. You never know with these things, man, because you never know what you're going to pull. And I think that's kind of the interesting part about these. Okay, Dark Energy. All right. Cool. Wait a second. Okay, that's a trainer card. I just looked over there and it's just an Ultra Ball. Cool. um, I forget how to pronounce these guys' names, but these guys are cancerous, bro. um, so these are my 3 hollows out of that pack. Believe it or not, they are holographics, even though the lighting is so garbage. There's something to pulling something awesome out of one of these, and I don't know. Can we buy the Scarlet and Violet packs separately? Because I would love to. Or not separately, but can I buy like a giant booster box? All right. Nothing cool out of that one. I actually got duplicates, but they're the You're really crazy if I pulled like a Charizard EX. I doubt it, but you never know with these things. Oh shit! So I actually got a Charmeleon. Cool. Something cool's coming. Okay. I got this cute ass Pokemon card right here. All right. And nothing. Damn it. All right. So I mostly got nothing. No. But I got a few cool ones. Mostly that Raichu and Pikachu. Because I got 2 Pikachus and a Raichu, which are always appreciated. Magmar, I have his Magmortar variant. Not variant, evolution. So the coolest combo that I pulled today out of any of these cards were my Pikachu and Raichu. Which I think Pikachu and Raichu, or just any Pikachu card, really, for that matter, is going to be highly collectible. As well as this card, which is $7 right now. You guys can't even see it, but it's got the gold border on it and everything, which I think is kind of goated. So Pika. I think it's a great way to start off any collection. I'm actually really considering starting a Charizard deck. Anyway, because just like, why not? I mean, like, I'm gonna have lots of rare cards, but the crazy thing with like the Charizard cards, for one, I actually like Charizard. I think Charizard's an awesome Pokemon. I might go out tonight and go to No Limit Gaming and buy some more Pokemon stuff and open off stream. So Those I might look at some of their singles and get some cool looking EX cards. That way it's like a guaranteed, but there's a magic to pulling them. All right, so I'm removing this out of the sleeve, but this is my Mimikyu, or whatever, however you pronounce it. So I have two holographic versions of that card, which I thought were kind of cool, kind of interesting. I have so many versions of that, or not so many versions rather, but just so I have 3 of them now because this obviously came with the promo. And there's my duplicate. Well, one I pulled the other day. So that's kind of cool. I'll put the promo next to them in the binder. Obviously now I'm getting them into a binder, so it's kind of cool that I'm started this collection officially to at least an official capacity. I'm going to buy an actual deck, pre-made starter deck, whatever the noobs buy, because I am a noob and I've never truly sat down and truly played Pokemon. And so if it's a hobby I'm going to get into, I at least want to be able to play it because you're going to encounter people that want to play it. And I'll immediately start studying whatever deck I get. And hopefully I get a cool deck that's not too difficult to learn and not too expensive to make cheap upgrades. So I'm not really going to be investing too much money into the hobby because I just started. At least I'm not going to be investing as much money as I did in my Yu-Gi-Oh deck because that was kind of pricey. So there goes my full art Mimikyu, or however you pronounce it. There goes that full art promo because it is bent. Like bent. It came bent. Why did it come bent? Why? It's just one of those things. It's unfortunate when it happens, but by golly, does it happen? And does it happen often? Like it sucks to see that happen. It genuinely does. But I think one of the cool things I want to share with you guys is some subtle details about my introduction to Pokemon and why I started to collect Pokemon cards. I used to have, dude, if I kept my collection, it'd probably be worth maybe $300 or $400 today. I had an original from the 90s Charizard, but it was not holographic. It was not like the super expensive version of Charizard. I had the first gen Pokemons, I had them from the year they started till 2005, roughly. Not every single one of them. God, I had so many duplicates, but that old border font, you know what I'm talking about? I even had like 40, 50 Japanese first generation, first edition cards. And No Limit Gaming at the time was right up the road from my house. And I took my collection in, and you guys won't want to hear what happened next. They told me I was this dumb, ignorant kid. So they gave me 2 options. They're like, okay, well, your collection is just nothing but useless bulk. And I'm like, oh, okay. So none of these Japanese cards are worth anything? And they're like, yeah, no, because you can't play them in the U.S. And I'm like, but if you know the effects and you know what Pokemon it is, I mean, like, yeah, no, I don't know. They were goofy people. I don't like shopping there. I mean, I still do because they're like one of the few places that sells cards, like TCG trading card games, Um, and so unfortunately at the time, I mean, it was a nerd store, bro. Like, I mean, it was paradise. They used to have like, the old now the NECA action figures or whatever you call them. They're not dolls; they're action figures. But no, the NECA action figures, or figurines, collectible, whatever you want to call them, whatever suits your fancy. Um, yeah, dude, like they had the OG NECA BioShock, Big Daddy, um, you know, action figures, which at the time I loved BioShock. It was my favorite game of all time, still is actually number one. My favorite game of all time will always be my favorite game of all time because if it not for BioShock, I would not have a intricate fascination in System Shock, Half-Life, Portal, Team Fortress, and God only knows how many other games. And if not for the Borderlands advertisement on the back of my copy of, or on the back of my manual, um, that came with the game, I wouldn't have gotten into Borderlands. And if I didn't get into Borderlands, God, dude, my life would be crappy. Borderlands is like Pokemon, but with guns. So instead of collecting rare and legendary Pokemon, you're collecting rare and legendary weapons. And so it's kind of like the same thing almost. That you have to grind for what you want. And once you have a bunch of rare stuff, you can tell you spent a lot of time and effort, and there's the chance of luck, which I think is, it's that gambling addiction that I think everyone has, that chance that you might get something you like and something that's desirable, but you don't know until you start opening up packs, and the chance of you pulling something really rare is kind of low. So when you get lucky and you get a decent hit or you get a cool card that's desirable, it leaves you with a satisfying feeling. And so I think that's what got me hooked to Pokemon cards as a child when I was really young. Pardon me. It's something I don't really talk about very much because I gloss over Pokemon so much that I always hold Yu-Gi-Oh to this high standard, and like it is, because Yu-Gi-Oh is awesome. All right, the artwork, awesome. The gameplay, as a kid, awesome when it was simple. Now that modern Yu-Gi-Oh, broken. Okay, like I want to say 2 years ago is when I was like the most invested in Yu-Gi-Oh in my modern age. I'm 22, so I was 20 at the time. Which God, that was only 2 years ago. But 2 years ago, it was impossible to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, you have decks where you could end the game like the same round the match started. Like, I mean, that's how crazy turns would go on forever, and you'd lose track of what's going on. And so I went to a tournament. I have my card that you would use to go to a tournament, and you put in your Konami card, which I'm an OG. I have a Konami card. Okay. So, but anyway, dude, broski, I'm going to download Pokemon Go. Okay. And I'm going to get a Magic Carp because there's a park not too far away from my house that I always go to. And they have this pond, right? They have this little pond. I'm going to get a Gyarados in Pokemon Go. That's going to be my grind, It gets me active. It gets me out. Like, holy crap, dude! Pokemon is really cool. Like it is. You have to open up to it. It's not something that I was going to ever really open up to until I allowed it to happen. But remember, what actually got me rehooked into Pokemon was the Charizard box, the Charizard set that came with this promo of full art EXE Charizard. That's what got me hooked because
I actually, as a kid, I only had 2 copies of Charizard that I lost when I sold my collection. Okay, and I had this cool Japanese exclusive art variation of the Charizard card. I don't think it was really worth much, but it looked cool. And to me, knowing that it had a different language on it and knowing that you can't just get Japanese cards in the US, I'm like, dude, I have like the holy grail of Pokemon cards. And not really. They go there and it's like, oh yeah, the internet exists. You can get this. But back then, dumb kid, didn't really know the thing about eBay. Like I didn't understand like the whole concept of eBay of like an online auction site. And then to me, I thought it was kind of stupid. But as a kid, right, it actually did not start directly with Pokemon cards. It actually started with what do you call it? Hold on a minute. Let me process this. Mega Halo Mega Blocks, the collectible minifigures. They would come in this box that was shaped like a Spartan helmet, right? Or not box, a package. You'd open it up and you'd get these random minifigures. Some were rare, some were not. It had a cheat sheet that came with it, little pamphlet thing that you opened up, and it showed you which are the rare, which are not. Whatever. And this thing called trash packs came out not too long after. And after a while, I just started really getting into collecting little things, and my collections kept growing ridiculously. And I'm like, I don't even like these things; I just collect them. And then so I would sell and trade my collections, and then I would strictly go back to just cards. But the person who got me into Pokemon and into card games in general, there are 2 people that are important in my life, and I will always remember their names. Travis, my next door neighbor Travis. I don't actually remember his last name, but I'm not going to say it on stream out of respect for him. And my other buddy growing up, Steven. Steven was a bullshit artist, okay? He could tell you a line of shit and you'd believe it because Steven said so. And so the power of Steven was that he would make these crazy Pokemon trades. And he's like, yeah, no, dude, hear me out, dude. This car kicks total ass, man. It's actually becoming quite meta these days. I was hoping I could trade you for this, and the idiot would trade this for this, and then he'd be like, "Cool." He was just an asshole. He was just such a character. He had just this. If it was Fallout, he'd have charisma 10 and intelligence 2. But he was just such a character. And then my buddy Travis, who was a Pokemon encyclopedia. Okay, like he played all the games. He had them from the Game Boy, the GameCube. He had all iterations of Pokemon. He had all the movies. He watched the new seasons of the TV show when they'd come out. He had the movies. I already said that. He had the games. He had the cards. He had the back in the day. Okay, like. You used to be able to order like mangas or mangas or however you want to pronounce them, Japanese anime, but in like a book format. And so usually in those books, there's usually these advertisements as you're scrolling through the pages. And you used to be able to just tear them out. And you'd be able to mail them and then get like a free Pokemon card promo exclusive. It's rare, whatever, or a Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I still have mine and my Naruto mangas and whatnot. So he would just order mangas just to get those, and then he'd, give them to someone that would buy them, and then he'd use that money to buy more Pokemon cards. He was really into Pokemon, and when it came to the games, at the time, the PSP had came out, right? So the whole take gaming wherever you go. So me, playing like Need for Speed Most Wanted on the PS2, or playing, Call of Duty Finest Hour on the PS2, would be like, I can go to school and play video games at recess. So I'm like, PSP is kind of goated. Well, my uncle won a PSP. Was it Taco Bell or was it KFC had a giveaway thing for a PSP, enter for a chance to win? The son of a bitch actually won the thing. And it came with like 3 games or whatever. And so he came over one day and he's like, yo, I just got this PSP. The thing is like $100. I got it for free. And I'm like, cool. So I started playing on the PSP. I'm like, yo, this thing is goated. I want a PSP. Well, I never got a PSP. Tell you what happened. A few months later, I was sitting down. I was this little kid, tiny little kid, and I was watching Cartoon Network, and I think it was Total Drama Island was on, and then it cut to a commercial break, and it was for the Nintendo Game Boy, or not the Game Boy, the Nintendo DS. Okay, and so me having a Game Boy, and my neighbor Travis loved Pokemon, and so, he always tried to get me to lend him my Game Boy so he could play the Pokemon games because his Game Boy broke. His brother broke his Game Boy that summer. And so I'm like, okay, well, when I lend him my Game Boy, which is actually the Game Boy was my first ever console or handheld, any kind of gaming of my own. And so I never really played the Pokemon games on the Game Boy, but in 2009, I want to say, so I'm thinking like Modern Warfare 2 came out. And I vividly remember Pokemon Platinum. That was my first ever Pokemon game. And personally, I think it was awesome. I think it was a great game. I think that Pokemon Platinum, if it's a Pokemon game I want to go back and replay, it's Pokemon Platinum. Giratina is awesome, like legendary monster. And so seeing that as like the cover art, Pokemon Platinum is iconic. That soundtrack is iconic. Pokemon Platinum. God, dude, there's so many memories tied with that game because I've had that game for so long. I actually lost count of how many times I've actually played the game. I've never beaten it though, which is crazy. I actually, come to think of it, I actually beat Pokemon Platinum once, I believe, and then sometime in middle school I decided to replay it. Awesome stream. Thanks, dude. Thanks. It's been so long since I've really been invested into like TCGs and like this kind of stuff. But I was just at my my local Meijer, and I seen that they had like the Charizard box, and so I bought it. As you guys can see, I'm always gonna be showing this. This is my pride and joy right now. And it came with this really cool case that is magnetically locked. So actually that is a magnet holding it together, and it's a pretty strong magnet, not gonna lie. But there it is, man. There's the full art Charizard EX promo, which is my pride and joy, which I'm actually keeping it inside this magnetic case. So I'm thinking this is more safe than putting it in a binder. If something gets on that binder, dude, I would just die, right? Because they're going to stop making this Charizard box, I think, next year or something like that is what someone told me. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, this thing's going to become pretty desirable, I feel like. And so for me, having it on this display stand, I'm putting it in my desk, right? Because, okay, the stuff that goes on my desk is not going to be Pokemon related. Not saying that Pokemon's not cool as a decorative design, because they make Pokemon everything, right? And also, hold on, I need to recalibrate here. But I put the stuff that Pokemon is not my everything. Okay, let me just get that out of the way. For me, my everything is like anything military. Because as you guys can see here, I had this F-14 Tomcat, 1:72 scale. This is $150 or $180. Okay, like this is an expensive model. Okay, that is my everything. Okay, but TCGs like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon are like a decent side hobby for me because for me, Pokemon, it just brings me back to that time when I was such a youthful kid, and I just miss going to school, and there'd be people that weren't even my friends would hang out with me because I had a modded Pokemon Soul Silver. Okay, like the copy itself was already the game was 100% complete. It had the actual Pokemon profile, had all the stars on it. You know what I'm talking about, and that's impressive. But it was modded, and I had like 50, 60 different duplicates of every Pokemon, shiny, not shiny, legendary, every Pokemon in the game. All right, the Pokédex on that game were complete, and I had just my dad bought it used, and it was modded, it was hacked, like it was cracked, it was everything. So all of a sudden, my birthday rolls around, and I put in the game into my DS, and I'm like, dude, I've been wanting to play this game, and then all of a sudden, oh, why isn't it not starting a new game? Why does it say load game? And then I look into my deck, and I'm like, what is this? And so I actually became the coolest kid in the neighborhood for like 2 summers because everyone who was really into Pokemon would be like, dude, this dude has everything. And so I totally took credit for shit I did not do. I'm like, yeah, dude, I just spent a few days grinding out the game, and it's some bullshit, dude. I just got it hacked. So my buddy found a way to duplicate Pokemon or something like that, or I traded him Pokemon, and then he would train them up. And so my neighbor Travis was really into the games. Soul Silver became his bread and butter. My copy of Soul Silver became his bread and butter because he would trade me all these crazy Pokemon. Be like, yeah, that's fine. I have like 50 other like shiny Gyarados. He's like, the Holy Grail. You have all the shiny Pokemon. It's just like he was just so stunned, and so I gave him a copy of every Pokemon I had. So because I had like 50 of them, I didn't give a shit. He was my best friend at the time, so I helped him complete his Pokédex, and I thought that was kind of cool. But that game, got eaten by a squirrel, so it's all gone. I remember because I was playing Pokemon, out on the patio, and I had taken out the cartridge, and I had like 4 other DS cartridges, and I come back, and this squirrel is like nibbling on it, and it cracked it open pretty bad, and eating the hardware part of it, and I'm like, what the hell is this squirrel doing? And then I look to grab the cartridge, and it's my Soul Silver. And I'm like, you little son of a bitch. And so I shot it with my pellet gun. If it was my Monopoly or any other like DS game that did not matter, I wouldn't have cared. But it was eating my modded Soul Silver, bro. Oh man, dude, that had me salty for so long. I think that's what made me give up Pokemon. I think playing the games, because I had everything. But no, my birthday later that year, 2009, was Pokemon themed, or was it 2010? One or the other. 2010 was a great year, by the way. Black Ops 1 came out in 2010. It was my bread and butter for that whole summer. But just looking back, because I mean, Pokemon, I have so many memories attached to Pokemon. I remember buying my first pack of Pokemon cards. I convinced my mom to buy me 3 packs. I got 3 booster packs, And I opened them. I didn't get anything cool, but I'm like, dude, Pokemon's pretty awesome. And so, at the time, expanding my collection. And then my uncle was like, "Oh, you're collecting Pokemon cards. Here, I got this binder." And so he gave me this binder. And as I was describing earlier, it had a lot of the first edition, first generation Pokemon cards. And I had a first generation, first edition Charizard, but it was not, holographic. And that was like one of my only copies of Charizard. And then I had a Japanese copy of Charizard, also first edition. Awesome, great. And then the people that I bought the thing, not bought, I sold them my card collection when I was done. I had 2 shoe boxes filled to the brim with bulk Pokemon cards. And so I'm like, how much would you guys buy my whole collection for? And they're like, well, everything you have is just bulk. So we'll give you X amount. And I'm like, oh, but I have these rare cards. And I'm like, okay, then we'll just give you this amount. A long story short, I basically got paid an in-store credit. Let me tell you guys something. All that in-store credit immediately transitioned over to Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know what it was about Yu-Gi-Oh, but the cards looked cooler. And I think young me switched to Yu-Gi-Oh! I made that switch. But before that, I'm trying to remember. After I gave up the card games, I just sort of just slowed down. There was a point in time where I had no Pokemon deck at all. It was playable. Everything was just collection. And really what it was, I want to say, is I was playing a lot of Fallout and BioShock and, Fallout New Vegas. And I was playing Call of Duty. And I was busy playing games that mattered to me, like Black Ops 2. Nothing got in the way of Black Ops 2. It was just Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, MW2, MW3. When Call of Duty Ghost came out, I played the hell out of that. But then again, I also was all over the place. Battlefield 3. I was busy playing games that my young mind, just teenage me, preteen Sully, at 12 years old, just had to be more important to me. But I was in the 2nd grade, I want to say, when I officially was into Pokemon 1000%. I was watching the TV shows and whatnot. But at some point in time, Pokemon just sort of stopped completely, and it just strictly became about Call of Duty and Legos. Nerf guns. Actually, low-key, one of my favorite toys growing up as a kid was Nerf guns, and I did not give that up until 6th grade when I made the transition from Nerf guns to pellet and BB guns and airsoft guns. And I would just do airsoft wars with my buddies out in the woods, and so that just sort of Pokemon had no room left in my hobbies at that point in time. And now I've made the transition from, BB guns to actual guns. And I can assure you it is far more expensive. But I don't know, as for collecting Pokemon cards and collecting any kind of TCGs, I tried to get into Magic the Gathering and just I couldn't do it, man. Magic the Gathering is expensive, and playing modern, $200 for a deck. No way. No, thank you. Absolutely not. I can't do it. It's $200. It can go to something better. I feel like I'm not saying that Pokemon's cheap by no means. I just spent $60 actually just got me this trainer box. So, in a lot of ways, it's kind of pricey. But at the same time, the I think the value is there. When I compared the same value to Yu-Gi-Oh, um, typically it's you get less stuff, but you also get better Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You get the prize packs. Yeah, so actually, as I was explaining earlier, I actually do not have a deck, but this trainer box has a crap load of energies, which you're going to need to build a deck, right? You need energy cards to play the game, to my understanding. It's been so long since it's been, believe it or not, I'm 22. It has been 12 years, or no, 10 years since I have touched Pokemon cards. 10 years. It's been an entire. Isn't 10 decade? Isn't 10 years like a decade? It's been a decade since I've touched Pokemon cards. Stores have pre-built decks that are actually not bad. That's the biggest thing with like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. Actually, is their pre-made starter decks are kind of garbage. So something I was thinking about with like Pokemon, but then you got to study the deck versus making a deck. You know what you're putting in there. You know what does what. I feel like putting together a deck is a bit more expensive. $30 to $10 of additional cards, and you have a winning deck list. Honestly, yeah, not bad. And I got money to spare. Really, I was actually going to go over there to No Limit Gaming tonight if they're still open. No, they're not. It'll be the weekend tomorrow. I'll see if they have any Pokemon games because actually I really want to get a DS and get a copy of Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Pearl, and Pokemon Diamond. And I want to get that first generation DS so that I can play Game Boy games and play the OG Pokemon games. And maybe I'll get a DSi because I seen it with my own two eyes today at work as a security guard in the guard shack. So I'm sitting there waiting for truckers to come in to drop off their truckloads. So I'm just sitting there and I'm scrolling through watching videos about Pokemon, trying to re-educate myself on Pokemon, looking at how to play, looking at the lore of Charizard and of my favorite, which are my favorite Pokemon. Charizard and Gyarados are my favorite Pokemon. So I'm like looking up the lore. I'm like, I love these Pokemon. Of course, I want to hear about some facts and little things I didn't know about them. Make me appreciate the cards in the game a little bit more. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm like, what was that Pokemon game I played as a kid? And then all of a sudden it hit me. It's like, oh yeah, it was Pokemon Platinum. And then it hit me. I grew up playing Pokemon Platinum. How much is a copy of Charizard EX is the top deck right now? Yeah, it's probably what I'm going to end up building anyway. It's actually, I don't know if you've been in the chat long enough, but yeah, I got that full art promo Charizard EX. Charizard is one of my favorite Pokemon of all times. I really wanted to get the Gyarados collection as premium collection as well, because Gyarados is my favorite Pokemon, and I don't care that the value isn't there with that premium collection, because it's still one of my favorite Pokemon of all times. I think Gyarados is the coolest looking design, and the Onix, the rock snake thing that Brock uses, or however you pronounce its name. I'm illiterate, but any like dragon snake looking creature in Pokemon, I think looks cool. More importantly, though, Gyarados just looks goated. I mean, after all, part of why I like fish type Pokemon, I actually keep fish in real life. I have pet fish that I keep. Um, and I'll tell you the cool thing is it's like they're my own little Pokemon in their own little fishbowl. But I think that's kind of crazy, kind of cool. Yeah, that's what I grew up playing. Oh my gosh, the screen. Holy crap. Will it show? Oh my god, it's showing. Pokemon Platinum with Giratina on the cover. Yay. Giratina is probably my third favorite Pokemon of all time. Remember that movie with like Mewtwo? I forget which Pokemon movie that was, but I was watching some movies I used to watch as a kid, and I had like physical copies of movies. I forget what movie it was, but it showed an ad for the Iron Giant in a Pokemon movie, and so it's kind of crazy, kind of cool. But Charmander is actually the starter Pokemon I picked for Fire Red, because I'm like, okay, it's got Charizard on the cover, so might as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, actually. Could you still. The starter Pokemon in the beginning of every Pokemon game, could you still capture a wild Charmander and like Bulbasaur or whatever the starter Pokemon were? Like, could you actually find them in the wild and capture them, or can you only get them at the beginning of the game? Is the new Mewtwo movie? Oh, I'm talking about way back in the day, like in like the early 2000s or the 90s. I remember it's the first movie with them in it. I think so long ago. I was such a kid back then. But why did I say it like that? But yeah, it's great coming back to this hobby that I have not been in so long. It's really crazy to me. So believe it or not, I work in a Honda plant, which I for all let the record show. I love a lot of Japanese made things. Like there's a reason I own like so many katanas and swords. That's just the first movie, literally. Ah, cool. I had no idea, man. It was one of those things, um, but that I just, for the love of God, could not remember. I actually never really watched the movies. Um, I had no like real deep knowledge. I was trying to think of, was it Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network, or I think it was Cartoon Network that did the Pokemon movie special, whatever nonsense that they were doing at the time. And I caught like the last 20 minutes, I want to say like the last quarter of the Pokemon movie, and I'm like, literally just looking at the screen the whole time. I was so confused and dumbfounded. Yo, little me, little me was goaded, bro. When I was a little kid, bro, I was just funny. I just, just thinking back on it, bro. That shit brings me such joy because I'm an adult now, and being an adult kind of sucks. Born 2002, man. The good old days. How I miss them. I miss old YouTube, bro. I just miss the way things used to be, the way I used to remember them being. Wonder if Walmart carries a lot of Pokemon products. It's like $9.50 something. Maybe 10. They close at 12. If I go to Walmart real quick, bro, I could pick up some more Pokemon cards because I'm like such a nerd right now. I love it. I'm honestly glad I've given Pokemon a second chance to exist in my world, because it's like I do have a lot of memories as a kid. When I was young, certain members of my family were getting married at that time, and so when I was really really young, and so at the time, those big family get-togethers, I could think of 3 weddings where I had my DS, because I took my Nintendo DS everywhere I went. So I can think of a few occasions where I would have my DS with me at school. And if I wasn't playing like Lego Batman, the video game, or Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, I was definitely playing a Pokemon game. And in particular, my cousin Brandon was my best friend growing up as a kid. Really growing up, he was my favorite cousin to be around. My favorite cousin, period. Because me and him, we were on like the same wavelength, only he was just a year older than me. That was kind of always the sort of like downward trend between the two of us. Is he's a year older than me, so he's a know-it-all. And so, and he was a pretty intelligent kid, but as a man, not so intelligent. Not an insult, but I'm just saying, when we compare each other, I probably have more intelligence. Not trying to compare myself in any way, but he's still a smart motherfucker, and he's out there making shit happen. But as kids, he'd always be the smart one because, well, number one, he was a year older than me. So things that I was going through, he had already technically been through them. So that's one factor that's sort of there when I oh shit, these are all my holographics. That's goofy. But when we were growing up, man, he loved Star Wars. He really loved Star Wars, and he loved Legos, and I had Legos and Star Wars, and he didn't really have a whole lot of Legos. I think he did at his dad's house. His parents separated, so something I never understood was that feeling of having your parents be separated. My best friend across the street, Eli, his parents had separated, and I always noticed he was different, he never really seemed to conform to societal standards. Whatever the popular kids were doing, he was not really doing that. So him and I got along really well because I never really fit in as a kid in my more formidable years. And so he was my buddy. And then that sort of changed after a while, after he moved. It sort of went through some changes, and I'll never understand it, but me and him, we love playing like Lego games and Pokemon games, and so he would he'd come over to my house, and I hung out with Travis, who also loved Pokemon and Star Wars, and so we all just had the same things in common. And I think I liked Transformers a little bit more. So I think one year my cousin Brandon did Transformers as his birthday theme, and I think the next year or the year after, I did Transformers. And when I say Transformers, I mean the good Transformers, because the Transformers that he had that year was like the cartoon Transformers. The Transformers I had on my birthday was the Megan Fox Transformers. Okay, like that's when I say Transformers, I mean I'm talking about the one with Megan Fox back in like the early 2000s. That was such a goated movie. That movie was so goated, so awesome. Still looked at and talked about to this day. So this trainer box comes with some playing dice and some other things, which is kind of cool. I'm actually going to buy one of these for my niece and give that to her, and hopefully she's still into Pokemon. I feel so bad that I'm not in my niece's or nephew's life, because as an uncle, it's kind of difficult being a young uncle, because my brother made me an uncle when I was only 12 years old. You know? So I haven't really been in my niece's life as much, and I feel bad about it, dude. Like, I genuinely feel bad because, I'm out here trying to survive and trying to evolve, trying to make a difference in my own life to get established. And I'm not even in my niece's life because, when I was a kid, all my uncles and aunts were in my life, and like I'm just not there. Not even in the holidays, I'm not there. So I just feel really bad. And she's entering her like teenage years. I think she's entering high school next year. And I'm like, dude, where has time gone? Because I still remember her being this little kid. And here I am just now becoming a man. All of a sudden, she's right behind me. She's entering high school, and she'll be graduating high school soon. And I was never there. And I just feel so bad about that for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but my brother was there for me. I wasn't there for his kids. So I don't know. And I feel really bad about it. It's something I don't really even talk about that much, but I feel really bad about it. And every time I see them, I'm like, oh, I'll see you guys more often this year. And then it never happens. So hopefully I'll be able to see my brother and my nieces and my nephew. I have 2 nieces and a nephew. Hopefully I'll be able to see them more often. Because I don't know what it is, man, but I just feel so bad about it. And because really, I don't even think about them as much, like on my spare time. I've just been so consumed by just trying to make it, because I just moved out 3 months ago. So I'm just now starting out as an adult. And so my other cousins, who I haven't seen in 2 years, have re-gotten into contact with me, and like they're growing up fast. And it's like, man, dude, it's as a kid, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna bullshit you guys. I'm just gonna be keeping it 100% with you guys. As a child, I heard adults say, "Time flies, man." And I never understood what that meant until now I'm a young man. I'm seeing my cousins that I remember when they were little, and now I'm just now starting up in the world, and I'm looking back, and they're right behind me. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, this is crazy. How much time has passed? There are only 12 months in a year. I thought a year was something special. I didn't know how many days were in a month. Even as a kid, I mean, they told me, there are 30 so days in a month. And I'm like, who gives a shit how long a month is? I got a month, dude. That's like forever, you know? But then it's like, is it really though? Christmas breaks used to feel like an eternity in like elementary school. But then, like when you get to high school, you only realize, oh, I only get 2 weeks off. Like, holy crap, bro! It really, looking back on my childhood, I'm seeing a lot of the things I used to remember as a kid, just like get changed around. Like Nerf guns today don't really look as cool as Nerf guns in my day, bro. Like back in my day, Nerf guns are goated, bro. I remember that sniper rifle, the long shot. I believe it was the one where the front has a attachable barrel that has a gun underneath it, like an underbarrel grenade launcher type of thing. And so playing Call of Duty, the underbarrel grenade attachment, obviously as a kid, I should not have been watching R-rated movies, but I had watched Scarface, and me not knowing what half the words meant, me not really paying attention to the story. I'm just all of a sudden get to this final scene, and it's just Al Pacino is Tony Montana with this M16 with an underbarrel grenade launcher, and he's just going crazy. And I'm like, dude, I need me one of those. And so when this Nerf gun came out and I seen it had that, I'm like, dude, that's goated. I remember, like, what was it, the Nerf Recon? It was like the most common Nerf rifle, where the top slides back and forth, and so you boom. And they had this one Nerf gun where the magazine came in through the side like a Sten, and but it, obviously had Nerf darts, so the magazine was really long, and it would just go into the side, and you would. I think it was called the Rampage was like a full auto chain fed Nerf gun. Dude, Nerf guns used to be so goated, bro. And then nowadays they look like garbage, but they run so much better. I'll never get back into Nerf. I just can't. That's like that is a kid's toy. Whereas Pokemon cards are still pretty collectible because they hold actual value. Dude, I hate hearing myself talk. All right, well, it's 10, so if I'm going to get out and buy more Pokemon crap, I got to get out now. Which, honestly, I don't really want to waste my money on Pokemon. But then again, like, I'm just now starting my Pokemon collection. And this time I'm going to go to the store, and I'm actually going to buy a starter deck. And while I'm out there, I'll see if I can find anything else like that promo box. I actually withdrawed some money out of my bank account for a massage. I went to the massage parlor, and they were closed today, and they'll be closed all weekend. It's a holiday, and I've been in dire need of a back massage because I used to go once a week to get a full body massage because being 6'2", bending down to grab things and you drop things and whatnot, dude, my back hurts so bad. Like it's slouching, dude. Sitting up straight is so important. I'm telling you guys. Like, your spine will thank you. Bro, that's goofy as hell. But no, seriously though, I'm not bullshitting. So all of my holographics are going into the binder. All my commons are going into that trainer box thing, and I'll have dividers. So yeah. Hopefully. See, I would go to No Limit Gaming to buy all my Pokemon stuff because they'll give you a better, more fair price. I feel like over your standard retail store, but at the same time, what place is really going to be open at this time? And I'm not really going to be buying anything expensive. I might be wasting maybe another 60, $70, and then I'm done for the day. Oh my God, dude, I really want to get a Nintendo DS to really go back and experience those older Pokemon games. I'm playing one right now on an emulator, but I don't know how long my trial on the emulator will last until I decide ultimately the best course of action is to buy an actual DS. And I don't know what the actual value of the DS is, so I don't want to go buy one because I don't know if I'm going to be getting ripped off or not. Because the DS itself is old and considered to be kind of rare. I would bid no less than $160, which is about the same price as I think the same price as like a Nintendo Switch Lite. So if I'm not mistaken, it's one thing, but if I am, it's another. But it's just one of them scenarios where, depending on the actual price, what they're charging for what, and what you're getting for what price you're being charged, it may or may not vary in what I buy. The results may or may not vary. But I would like to actually go to No Limit and get a Charizard EX card, holographic, whatever. But I'm thinking for my first deck, I want to go with a water and fire-based deck. And then for the next deck, I might go Psychic and probably Dark type. Like, I want to do like a Ghost and Psychic deck. I think would be kind of a cool blend. But yeah, all of my holographics are going into the binder because each of these holographics are going to be worth more than the standard cards, and so really the only reason I'm doing it this way is for value. So I want to say it was like August 21, yeah. Last year I got back into Lego Star Wars. I started actually collecting Legos again. When I was 20, I kind of sort of started back, but I was collecting the Lego Speed Champions. And so now that I'm back into Pokemon, and I've just sort of reached full circle. All right, cool. So now I have a Pokemon binder. Cool. Oh, wait a second. Do I have more? Are these holos? Yes, they are. Holy crap! I have a ton of holographic cards. I wonder how much these are all going to be worth one day. Hopefully, I mean, Pokemon cards tend to hold their value fairly well in a legit standpoint. Like if you're looking at it from price per card, or and depending on what type of card you get, usually holographics, like the common ones, might go for 69 cents. So you get 75 of those or 600 of those. And it's like, holy crap, man, does that really add up? Because if you think about it, if you have 100 of the same card, but it's holographic and it's worth 50 cents, you have 100 of them, you just made $50. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, not that it should be all about making and getting money. It should really just be about enjoying the hobby, which is the most important part. Because if you're not actually enjoying it, then what's the purpose? If you're not enjoying the actual Pokemon cards, then you might as well be spending your money more wisely on stocks and bonds. It's all about making money and creating and generating more money. It should really be focused around investing it instead of spending it. I'm not investing my money. This is no investment by no means, but I feel like this binder is going to be worth something potentially in the near future because I have some cool cards in here already. I have some full arts, which I know the full art cards are going to be worth more in the grand scheme of things. And I should probably, the hardest thing I think in this hobby right now is to collect vintage, because anything older is going to be worth more, especially if it's older unopened packs. I think they go for $100 a pack, and there's a chance you're not going to get shit out of that pack. But if you do, you're talking potentially hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So you have the chance to make profit from it. But then again, is it really worth it? If you have a chance, if you're going to spend $100 for a pack of cards, it's one pack. I forget how many cards are per pack. I think it's 8 or 9 cards. And those 8 or 9 cards are worth 60, 70, 80 cents. And you just spent $100 on them. It's dude, no good, no bueno. So anyway, I'm going to head out. And while I'm gone at Walmart, because it's a lot cheaper than Meijer, I'm going to also grab me some food because I'm hungry. If not, I will grab McDonald's on the way home and spend the rest of my night opening Pokemon cards and playing Pokemon on my computer through an emulator. And I'll be plotting on getting a DS and Pokemon Platinum and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Those were my favorite Pokemon games growing up. See you guys.